1-800-933-1447.
It's time for the Playmaker Spotlight with Executive Coach and Vistage Chair, Dick Smith.
Well, good evening. Welcome to the Playmaker Spotlight, the part of the Get Down to Business show where we speak to CEOs, business owners, and share their success stories and best practices with you. I am your host, Dick Smith, the CEO, business coach, and award-winning chair for Vistage International. And tonight I'm so excited to have a very unique business, a very unique couple, and very successful, I might add. Joining us tonight, Mike and Marilyn Stopka. They're owners and founders of a company called Design Toscano, and I just found out 25 years in business as of this year, headquartered in Elk Grove Village. And when I say unique business, you'll see what I mean in just a minute. We've had conversations, Mike and I and Marilyn, here prior to the interview, and let me tell you what I believe they do. They offer an eclectic mix of statuary as well as historic replicas of furniture, garden fountains, gnomes, you name it, statuary of all sorts. How do you make a business out of that, number one, and how do you make one so successful with nearly 70 employees and an excess of $26 million in revenue? And we're going to get to find out about that. They offer over 6,000 products, ranging from about just under $7 for a holiday ornament to a $12,000 12-foot dinosaur. You got to visit their website and see some of the pictures of their warehouse sale and some of the stuff that they sell, and people strapping sharks to the top of their car, driving out of the parking lot with gnomes filled in the trunk. It's really something to see. So Mike and Marilyn created Design Toscano, is the name of the company, in 1990 while on a trip to Paris. And I'd like to hear a little bit more about that story. So who wants to kick that? Marilyn, you want to talk about that, the 1990 trip?
Well, we were on family vacation, and we were just starting our catalog business. Uh-huh. And we were in the heart of Paris, and just, the feel of it and everything. And my husband said, this is what I want to bring back to the U.S. This is what I want to start selling to our customers.
What was this?
It was the whole... the old decor, the authenticness of the Paris gargoyles. Yep. We became like Mr. and Mrs. Gargoyle for a while. Uh-huh. It was just bringing everything back.
Uh-huh. Well, that's an interesting. Back in 1990, so that kind of launched it, and you started in catalogs, and now you've moved to various channels of distribution, obviously, over the years as you've grown through changes from catalogs to multi-pronged channel approach, including the internet, garden center shows, I understand. You sell through big box stores, and even now distribution through the likes of Amazon and this new thing, Wayfair, that I see on TV a lot lately. So tell us a little bit more about that transition. Mike, why don't you?
We started in cataloging. At peak, we were about 16 million catalogs. And, of course, then the web came into effect in about 2000. And in 2008, it was a very slow year, and we said, we have to look at other channels. We have 6,000 products. We have 100 different vendors across Asia and the United States. And I says, we have to look at opportunities to leverage this into different channels. Mm-hmm. And I guess the term nowadays is called omni-channel marketing.
Omni-channel, yep, good term.
And so the first thing we did was we looked at traditional, which would be going to garden shows. We looked at what product category was our strongest, which would be garden. And so at this point, we go to 16 different shows. We have a showroom in the Atlanta Gift Center. We've had space in the High Point Center. Yeah. And, it did quite well. It gave us some big boxes, Menards, QVC. But, really what's changed the business after 2008 is all these web platforms, marketplaces such as Amazon, Wayfair, Hay Needles. I'd say there's hundreds, but it's getting to that point.
Are there fewer catalog businesses as a result? More, about the same? What's happened?
Oh, it's definitely dynamic? Down. The peak was probably 2004, and when they put this huge 27% postal increase into effect, people cut circulation, gave you less names to rent, and the movement to the web has slowed the catalog industry quite a bit.
Sure, I understand. So, and what part does pricing of products through those various distribution channels play? Tell us about things. You and I talked about a thing called minimum advertised pricing your map and your product exclusivity. Tell me a little bit more.
If you have exclusivity on a product, you can control your price points. If you control price points, you can control margin.
There you go.
And if you control margin, that gives you opportunities to have multiple channels to sell to.
Sure.
Because we are really a hybrid. We started as a retailer, a cataloger, and then we realized that since we had this organization of importing, that we could go through different channels, and it allowed us to go through the Amazons, the Wayfairs. But it was important with MAP that we made sure that we enforced a constant price so everybody would be guaranteed the same price and margin. Mm-hmm. And it's very similar if you look at a business model to, let's say, a Gucci's or a Weber, where they enforce a minimum price.
But you guys don't really control the manufacturing. That's done by places all across the globe, and where inexpensive manufacturing, China, for example, takes place. What you control is the design component, right? Where you almost patent the design. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. About 90% of our products are exclusive.
Got it.
And even if we don't design them, we find niches that the vendor isn't selling to, and then we control the retail price of that product.
There you go. Hey, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Get Down to Business Playmaker Spotlight, and I'm your host, Dick Smith. We're talking to Mike and Marilyn Stopka of Design Toscano. So, Marilyn, tell me a little bit, what do you and Mike contribute your success to? What makes you so different and unique from your competitors, do you think?
I think it's more of our vision. We're always constantly changing as times change. Mm-hmm. So we started with catalog, and then we moved on to the web, way in the early stages. So if you can keep up with the public at large, and then we also have a very creative staff. And our creative director, in fact, Steve Steno, is remarkable, and he just designs these wonderful statues that we then bring to the market.
Got it. And then you own the design, and you can hold on to that minimum pricing as we talked about.
Correct.
Good for you. So between the two of you, Marilyn, are you both visionaries, or is he the visionary and you're the operator, or are you the culture expert? How's that work?
I think Mike's more than visionary as far as with the statuary and the growth of the company.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's the biggest challenge in running Design Toscano today, Mike? Amazon changing your industry, for example? What is it?
It's really after retooling the company in 2008 and right-sizing the company to now, we're still operating fairly lean, and we have this very quick double-digit growth every year with the Amazons, the Wayfairs, and building an organization from around the core that we have, because our average employee has been with us for 16 years, and we have a very loyal, hardworking group. But we're leaving quarters on the table at this point because we're sub-optimizing because we've got all this extra business coming in.
Well, I want to talk about your employees because, Marilyn, you're the culture expert. You're the HR person. You're making sure you got the right people on the bus and they're happy, right?
Yes.
So tell me how you do that.
Well, I mean, we have very loyal employees. Like Mike was saying, the average is 16 years. We have some people that have been working with us since almost the very beginning. So about 23 years, I think, is our longest employee right now. We just try to make it a fun environment. We're very lenient as far as time off. Unfortunately, because we are a smaller company for our employees, it's hard to take vacations also.
Oh, yeah. Now, you've got 70 employees, and it's still hard for you to get vacation scheduled, right?
Right. We have a lot of employees that have the time, but we just don't have the opportunity for people to take the time off. So
Strike while the iron's hot, huh?
Exactly.
Right. So in good times, as they say, as the tide rises, so do all the boats. Are people buying more statuaries, more gardens in their backyard, more gnomes, more whatever you guys sell as a consequence because they have disposable income?
It is definitely a disposable type product, disposable income. So that is part of it. But I think it's a market percentage that we're going after, because when it was a catalog, it would be only 10% was our opportunity. Now we have an opportunity to go through multiple channels. So, I mean, look at the area that QVC can get into. Look at the area that Amazon can get into. And with our expansion into Europe with Amazon, it's been a really...
so there's a whole virgin territory, if you will, for you,
correct.
Right? Europe. So good for you. And you're even selling European products in Europe. So that's right where it all came from.
Exactly.
So we're almost out of time, but you have this great event every year, and I'm sorry we've already missed your warehouse sale. Tell us just a little bit about that in a few minutes.
Our warehouse, it brings in people from all over the Chicago area and the United States.
There's thousands of people, I understand, go through the warehouse.
I have people that fly in for our warehouse sale.
Wow.
They rent trucks and fill them up, and we're renting a warehouse this year, and we're bringing in all of our products that have been returned. products that have come in that weren't quite perfect that we put up in the warehouse
so
sale.
So hopefully this time in 2016, end of June, early July, you'll be doing a warehouse sale again.
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Look for that from these folks. Hey, we're almost out of time, but I want to thank both Mike and Marilyn Stopka of Design Toscano for being with us. What a great story about two great entrepreneurs who've established things as well as they have with 70 employees and living the dream. God bless you. Hey, this is Dick Smith, your host of the Playmaker Spotlight. Thanks for joining us. You can reach me on LinkedIn or dick.smith@vistagechair.com. And now stay tuned for more of my friend Shalom, Klein, and Get Down to Business.
First with